Before you click away, thinking you already know the answer, pause for a second. Because the number one reason women cheat is not about looks. It is not about money. It is not about status. And it is definitely not as simple as she just found someone better. The real reason is deeper, quieter, and far more uncomfortable to face. It hides beneath everyday conversations, unspoken disappointments, and emotional distance that slowly grows like a crack in glass. And if you do not understand it, you will keep blaming the wrong things while the real issue keeps repeating in your life. Welcome back to Mind Unmasked, where we peel back the layers people are afraid to talk about. Today, we are going to confront something painful but necessary. Not to shame, not to attack, not to generalize, but to understand. Because understanding is power. And if you truly want better relationships, you need clarity more than comfort. Let us begin with the truth most people avoid. The number one reason women cheat is emotional disconnection. Not boredom, not lust, not revenge. Emotional disconnection. Now, before anyone gets defensive, this is not about saying men are always at fault. It is not about saying women are innocent victims. Cheating is a choice. Always. Responsibility belongs to the person who makes that choice. But if we are talking about patterns, about psychology, about why it happens so often even in relationships that look fine on the outside, emotional disconnection sits at the center. Emotional disconnection does not happen overnight. It builds slowly. At first, everything feels intense. You talk for hours, you share stories, you feel seen, you feel chosen, there is curiosity, there is attention, there is energy. Then life starts happening. Work stress, bills, responsibilities, routine. Conversations become shorter. Eye contact becomes rarer. Appreciation becomes assumed instead of expressed. Arguments are brushed aside instead of resolved. Small hurts are swallowed instead of addressed. And here is the key part. Many women experience intimacy primarily through emotional connection. When they feel heard, valued, and emotionally safe, attraction deepens. When they feel ignored, dismissed, or emotionally alone inside the relationship, attraction quietly fades. This does not mean men do not need emotional connection. They absolutely do. But research and relationship patterns often show that women are especially sensitive to emotional neglect. When she starts feeling like a roommate instead of a partner, like an option instead of a priority, the foundation begins to crack. It rarely starts with a plan to cheat. It starts with loneliness. Loneliness inside a relationship is more dangerous than loneliness when you are single. When you are single, you expect to be alone sometimes. When you are committed and still feel unseen, that pain cuts deeper. You begin questioning your worth. You start wondering if something is wrong with you. You miss how it used to feel. Then someone new appears, maybe a coworker, maybe an old friend, maybe someone online, and what does he do? He listens, he notices, he compliments, he asks questions, he remembers details, he provides emotional validation. At first, it feels harmless. It feels innocent. She tells herself it is just conversation, just friendship. But emotionally, a door has opened, and once emotional intimacy shifts outside the relationship, physical boundaries often follow later. Here is something many people misunderstand. Cheating is usually the final stage, not the first step. The real betrayal often begins long before anything physical happens. It begins when emotional energy is redirected. And here is the uncomfortable truth for many men. Sometimes they focus heavily on providing financially, being responsible, being stable. They think love is proven through protection and provision, Those things matter. They absolutely matter. But if emotional presence disappears, provision alone will not sustain connection. You can pay the bills and still be emotionally absent. You can be loyal and still be distant. You can live in the same house and feel worlds apart. Emotional disconnection shows up in subtle ways. Conversations that feel transactional, affection that feels mechanical, conflict that never truly resolves, appreciation that fades, laughter that becomes rare. And when she tries to express her feelings and hears you are overreacting or you are too sensitive, a wall goes up. Not always loudly, sometimes silently. Now let us balance this properly. Emotional disconnection is not always caused by one person. Sometimes she withdraws first. Sometimes unresolved trauma, personal dissatisfaction, or insecurity create distance. Sometimes she struggles to communicate what she needs. Sometimes she seeks external validation because she never built strong internal validation. Cheating is still a choice, but choices are influenced by emotional environments. Another powerful factor is identity loss. Many women, especially in long relationships or marriages, slowly begin to feel like they have lost themselves. They become someone's partner, someone's mother, someone's support system. But who are they as individuals? If the relationship no longer nurtures growth, excitement, or emotional expansion, restlessness can grow. When someone new reflects back a version of her that feels vibrant, desired, interesting, that can feel intoxicating. Again, not an excuse, an explanation. Here is where many men get stuck. They think if she cheats, it must mean she was never loyal, or she was always like that, or all women are the same. That mindset feels protective because it removes responsibility, but it also removes growth. If you believe all women cheat, you will enter every relationship guarded and suspicious. That energy alone can create the very disconnection you fear. Instead, ask deeper questions. Was emotional intimacy consistently nurtured? Were concerns dismissed? Did routine replace curiosity? Did appreciation fade? Did both partners stop trying? Emotional disconnection thrives in complacency. Let us talk about communication. Many relationships operate on assumptions. You think she knows you care. She thinks you should know she is unhappy. Nobody says the hard things clearly. Resentment builds quietly. When communication becomes defensive instead of open, emotional safety disappears. And without safety, vulnerability shuts down. When vulnerability shuts down, intimacy fades. When intimacy fades, temptation becomes louder. Another layer is unresolved conflict. Some couples avoid conflict to keep peace, but unresolved issues do not disappear. They accumulate. Small arguments that never fully resolve become emotional residue. Over time, she may feel unheard or invalidated. If someone else listens without arguing, it can feel like relief. Validation is powerful. Humans crave it. When validation disappears in one place, the mind naturally notices when it appears somewhere else. There is also the issue of emotional maturity. Some individuals struggle with direct confrontation. Instead of addressing dissatisfaction openly, they seek escape. Cheating becomes avoidance. Rather than risking conflict or breakup, they step outside the relationship secretly. Fear of being alone also plays a role. Some people cheat not because they want to leave, but because they are too afraid to leave. They want security and excitement at the same time. This is selfish, but it is also rooted in insecurity. Now, here is something crucial. Emotional disconnection does not justify betrayal. You can feel disconnected and still choose integrity. You can feel lonely and still choose honesty. Many people do exactly that. But if you want to prevent betrayal, you must prevent chronic disconnection. So what does emotional connection actually require? Presence. Not just physical presence. Mental and emotional presence. Listening without trying to fix immediately. Asking questions without multitasking. Noticing shifts in mood. Responding with curiosity instead of dismissal. It requires appreciation, verbal acknowledgement, gratitude for small things, recognition of effort. It requires emotional availability, being willing to share your own fears and thoughts, not hiding behind silence or pride. It requires continuous effort. The early stage of relationships is fueled by novelty. Long-term connection is fueled by intention, and let us not ignore attraction. Emotional connection and physical intimacy are linked. When emotional closeness declines, physical intimacy often declines too. And when physical intimacy declines without discussion, insecurity grows on both sides. Some women cheat not because the relationship is horrible, but because it feels emotionally empty. That emptiness creates vulnerability. Someone steps in, attention returns, desire feels alive again. If you are watching this and feeling angry, pause. Anger is understandable, betrayal hurts deeply, but growth requires honesty, not denial. If you have been cheated on, it does not mean you are worthless. It does not mean you failed completely. It means something in that dynamic broke down. Sometimes you contributed. Sometimes you did not. Sometimes the other person simply lacked character. What you can control is what you learn. Stop focusing only on external competition. Start focusing on internal connection. Ask yourself difficult questions. Do I truly listen? Do I create space for open conversation? Do I express appreciation? Do I stay emotionally engaged after the honeymoon phase ends? And if you are currently in a relationship and you sense distance, address it early. Do not wait until resentment becomes silent withdrawal. Have uncomfortable conversations. Ask direct questions. Invite honesty. Emotional repair is easier early than after betrayal. And if she is already emotionally checking out, denial will not fix it. Pride will not fix it. Blame will not fix it. Only awareness and intentional reconnection have a chance. There is another uncomfortable layer we must address. Social media has amplified emotional temptation. Constant validation is available instantly. Old connections are one message away. Attention is easy to access. If emotional connection at home feels low, outside attention can feel even more exciting by comparison. This is why boundaries matter, not just physical boundaries, emotional ones. Sharing intimate frustrations about your partner with someone who is attracted to you is already crossing a line. Emotional loyalty matters as much as physical loyalty. Strong relationships protect emotional exclusivity. Now, let us shift to empowerment. Instead of asking, why do women cheat, as if it is a mystery, ask, how do I build a relationship where emotional disconnection is less likely? Choose partners who communicate clearly. Choose partners who take responsibility for their emotions. Choose partners who do not rely entirely on external validation, and become that partner too. Many men were raised to suppress emotion, to be strong, to provide, to endure silently, but strength without emotional openness can create distance. Emotional intelligence is not weakness, it is relationship armor. If you struggle expressing feelings, work on it. Read, reflect, practice, seek growth, because emotional connection requires skill, not just intention. Here is the deeper truth. Most people do not cheat because they are monsters. They cheat because they are disconnected, insecure, avoidant, or emotionally immature. That does not remove accountability, but it explains patterns, and patterns can be interrupted. If you are single, carry this understanding forward. Do not chase only beauty or excitement. Look for emotional depth. Look for self-awareness. Look for accountability. If you are committed, nurture emotional intimacy intentionally. Schedule time together. Have real conversations. Express desire. Resolve conflicts fully. Protect boundaries. And if you have been betrayed, heal before entering something new. Unprocessed pain creates suspicion. Suspicion creates distance. Distance recreates the very cycle you want to avoid. Let me say something clearly. Not all women cheat. Not all men cheat. Betrayal is a human issue, not a gender identity. But emotional disconnection is one of the most common roots when it does happen. When someone feels unseen long enough, they eventually look for sight somewhere else. When someone feels unheard long enough, they eventually listen to someone who listens back. When someone feels unwanted long enough, attention feels like oxygen. The solution is not control. It is not surveillance. It is not jealousy. Control creates resentment. Surveillance creates secrecy. Jealousy creates pressure. The solution is connection, clarity, and character. Connection reduces vulnerability. Clarity prevents misunderstanding. Character prevents betrayal even when temptation appears. At Mind Unmasked, we do not aim to blame. We aim to understand. Because when you understand human behavior, you stop reacting blindly and start responding intelligently. So here is the takeaway. The number one reason women cheat is emotional disconnection, not because women are flawed, not because men are inadequate, but because intimacy requires maintenance, and when maintenance stops, cracks form. Do not let pride stop you from nurturing your relationship. Do not let routine replace romance. Do not let silence replace communication. And do not ignore emotional distance hoping it will fix itself. If this message challenged you, that is good. Growth often feels uncomfortable, but uncomfortable truths build stronger foundations than comfortable lies. If you found value here, stay with Mind Unmasked. This channel exists to expose what hides beneath the surface, to break patterns, to build awareness, to help you move with clarity instead of confusion. Relationships are not destroyed in a single moment. They erode quietly, but they can also be rebuilt intentionally. The choice is always yours. Until next time, stay aware, stay honest, and never stop unmasking the truth.